NCTV presents this program in color.
From the Langford Center Studios at Newberry College, this is Wolves Weekly. I'm Miguel Hernandez.
And I'm Adeline Jindal. The men's lacrosse team has been on a move lately, and a couple weeks ago made it to the number 6 spot in the United States Intercollegiate Lacrosse Association's poll of coaches. On Saturday, they faced off at Setzler Field against Wingate. Here's Brian Bird with the report.
On a high-stakes Saturday night at Setzler Field, the number 6 Newberry Wolves faced off against number 4 Wingate in the top South Atlantic Conference battle. Wingate wasted no time jumping out to an early 4-goal lead in the opening quarter. Matthew Burt finally put the Newberry on the board late, but the Wolves trailed 4-1 after one. In the second, Liam Vones sparked hope with a goal, but Wingate answered with an unstoppable run, 6 straight goals, taking a commanding 10-2 lead into halftime. But Newberry didn't fold. Staying sharp in transition, aggressive on defense, Newberry found their rhythm in the third, and leading the charge, Liam Bones. He erupted with 4 goals in the quarter, helping Newberry pour in a 6-6 and cut the deficit up to 3. The momentum was building. But eventually, Wingate will respond back with another final goal, sealing a 16-12 finish. Bonin led the way with a career-high 6 goals. Scott Williams contributed with 4 points, and goalkeeper Ben McMillan stood tall with 13 saves. The Wolves now sit at 9-4 overall, 5-2 in conference play, and look ahead to their next challenge on the road against Lincoln Memorial. The fight continues.
Hey! Red dog! Red dog!
Some people judge a book by its cover, and if you're not what people are looking for, you're kind of like a reject.
School, it feels like everyone's staring at me and I'm just kind of not really a person.
It just feels hard today. Nobody was listening to me.
And I'll try to understand me more, and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
Hello, welcome back to Wolves Weekly. My name is DeAndre Coleman, and joining us in the studio today is sports performance coach Sylvester Armendariz. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, can you give us a little bit about your background and what you do here at Newberry?
Yeah, so I started at Cal State LA, getting my bachelor's in Los Angeles. From there, I went to USC Southern Cal with their football program. I was there for around 8 months. From there, I went to St. John Bosco High School, interned there, and then I got the opportunity to get a GA-ship here. From there, I got another opportunity, got promoted, and now I'm assistant director here. So in terms of what I do here, the main thing is just get bigger, faster, stronger, but also I think personally, I like to think that, I am a little older than everybody here, so I like to think that I help you guys achieve something after just either football, softball, whatever you guys play. I think it's important to grow, for the future too. So.
Yeah. Can you give us a little bit about your that transition from the East Coast to the West Coast, or West Coast to the East Coast?
I mean, I'm from South Central in Los Angeles, so I think there's 8 million people live in Los Angeles. So coming here, 10,000 people in Newberry, it is a big shift. But also, I came here with my girlfriend, so that was a big thing for me. We hike, we do things outside of the house on the weekends, just make sure we decompress. But I think it's a big change, and it's a good change for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of your sports performance, can you give us a little bit of like the things that you do to help athletes get better here?
Yeah. So I think just bringing it down, just real basic. We lift heavy things, we move things fast as well, right? So everything I do is planned out, months, weeks. Everything is planned out because I don't want to go in a day and think we are just going to do whatever we want, right? I think it's important to have a plan. And depending on what team I'm working with, everything is different, right? I'm not going to give the same program I give a football player to a soccer player because it's completely different sports, different bioenergetics, different biomechanics. So we have to make sure that we address all those issues for that sport. Right. So, and again, we can break it down even more in terms of off season, in season. We think about that as well. Just make sure that if we're in season, we're trying to avoid that soreness. Make sure we're still lifting heavy. Make sure that we're moving weight fast. But then in the off season, we can really get after it. Right. We're lifting pretty heavy weight, but also that volume increases a lot. So, just managing all that, managing the bodies, and then, making sure that we're injury resilient throughout the season. I think you especially for football, you see those little hits, they add up. So we have to make sure that you're able to handle that throughout the season too.
Can you touch a little bit more on like your role as director?
Yeah, so assistant director, whatever, Coach Corzelli is the director here, so whatever he needs, I'm there for, right? So if sometimes he can't be here for football, I'm there to cover that. If I need to travel with something, I travel for him. Outside of that, I work with social media. I'm the interim coordinator for the program, and then he gives me the freedom to really do what I want in terms of my teams, right? That's the biggest thing with Corzelli. Even as a GA, I was the head strength coach for that team, right? So whenever I needed him to go to help me out, I would ask him, and he would be there for help. But it's kind of like trial by fire. You're there to work, and I think for me it's been the biggest thing. He's really helped me with that, and now that I've grown to be have the experience for assistant director with the internship coordinator, that's just going to help me in the future. And then with social media, in the future I might have to do that as well. So I think it's been a big help for me.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us today in the studio, Coach Sylvester.
Yeah, anytime. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Wolves Weekly will continue in a moment.
Dear moms and dads, what you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas.
It's true.
Mom, we love you always.
Everything I do.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
You're watching NCTV-Newberry.
Over the past weekend, the world paused to observe Easter, one of the holiest days on the calendar. It's a special time for everyone, including the student athletes at Newberry College. Last Monday, student organizations, including the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Crew, and Baptist Campus Ministries, took a page from the fraternity and sorority life traditions to paint religious banners for Easter weekend. Wolves Weekly was there and captured their efforts to paint what Easter is all about.
Okay, so how that went about, Jason texted me with an idea. He's like, hey, one of us had an idea to make some banners to kind of like bring back, let us like remind the campus of what the reason for Easter is. And I was like, that sounds awesome. He's like, we get with all the other campus groups. So I was like, okay, cool. So it was us, BCM, FCA, and I think also campus ministries, like Pastor David as well, they also came out. But basically we bought tablecloths at Walmart, we bought paintbrushes, we bought paint, and we basically just went, okay, we're gonna go when, because FCA wasn't doing Bible study that week, we went, okay, we'll use that time slot, and that's when we're gonna do it.
I believe this is our first time ever doing it, so we wanted to do something like how Greek do, where like they do their banners outside the cafeteria, and we wanted to do it for Easter. So we got together with BCM and Crew to paint.
Whenever we were doing the posters for Holy Week and for the representation of Easter, I'd been busy previously for the past 2 weeks, I guess, when they were talking about it in the chat. And I literally walked in thinking that we were having our Bible study like we usually do Mondays at 8:30, and I found out that we were actually painting, and everybody was painting and laughing, and they had worship music going on. But it was really beautiful to witness, because it was like walking in after such a long week and just seeing there being so many people just all coming together and all just being themselves and having a good time. It was really nice.
I did know a little bit about it. We have a group me, so our leaders informed everyone about it, and something that Erin, one of our FCA leaders, came up with, where she thought it would be a good idea to help people like know the true reason for Easter and these few great days that are coming up.
So we wanted to get like more of the message out there, and having the banners out in front of the cafeteria, everybody's going to see them every time they walk in the cafeteria past the quad. So we kind of just borrowed that idea from it.
Okay, so essentially it represents Easter. So one of the paintings was the Last Supper, which was essentially right before Jesus was about to be crucified, that night before, when he was sitting with his disciples. And then the painting in the middle was the crucifixion, for whenever he essentially gave his life on the cross for us. And then the third poster was whenever he was risen, like the resurrection. So his grave was empty, and it was showing an empty cross. So it's just kind of representing the sacrifice that Jesus gave for us at the true meaning of Easter, so that we can have eternal life with him.
And just to see the differences between all the different banners, like the different approaches that came with it, the fact that we all gotta like go take a picture afterwards. It was just the community and the fellowship that came with that was really nice.
I think the biggest representation of all the posters all together is just the love that Christ has for us, and how intentional he is with us.
It was just like a great way to fellowship with each other and just being in the presence of God and just giving God the glory.
That's what we try to do, and I've also noticed that with Crew and BCM as well. Like, no matter where you're at, if you see them on campus, it's like, hey, like, how are you? Like, they're running up and everybody's hugging everybody. So it makes me happy that you feel that way.
It's a good way to just be around people. Like, a lot of these people at the beginning of the year, I didn't know them, and some of them become some of my best friends. And like being able to know, like, I can come to them with my struggles and I'm not going to be judged for that. And knowing like they have my back and I have theirs.
Yeah, it's definitely helped me with, I feel like I have like support outside as well. Like if anything happens, I know I have like people to go to, and there are people who are going to lift me up no matter how many times I fall, And yeah, I think that's what FCA really is about.
I think that a lot of us, whether it's athletes or freshmen or nurses, business majors, whatever it is, that we're always looking for something to fit in, that we're looking for something more. And I think that groups like FCA and Crew and BCM are really good with like giving students that place where they can be them, and where if they are curious about coming to know Christ, or maybe like you just want to get out the room and be in a safe environment where you don't necessarily have to be out or like at a party or in a place where you're going to be judged. I just think it's a very good opportunity to make those friends and like build those connections, and that will help you grow as a student and in your future career. So
I would say for people whoever would be watching this or interested in having a sense of community and who don't really have a direct path in their lives and who are searching for more, looking for more, I'd say it would be definitely a good idea to join a Bible study. It could be FCA, it could be crew, it could be anything that's on campus. And I feel like the support that you would get there, the support that they would get there, when it comes to just finding your true meaning, the true meaning of life and how to live it, with support and goals that you can actually work towards with people who are going to help you, is the best thing that you can do for your college life and life in general. But I think especially for college students, it's something that's really going to help you, because a lot of us here are a little lost. Some of us away from homes, we don't have that many people to look up to, you know. And I think FCA especially helped me with that. Aaron, Chance, these guys really made a big impact on me, bigger than they would know. And I think that's the main goal of FCA, is giving without thinking and expecting anything in return, but just doing it for the Lord and through the Lord.
I feel like we pretty much got the main message of what we wanted to do that night, and I just hope that us just doing that might bring people to come to FCA more, and BCM and crew, because we really try to spread out the message throughout the campus to people that have little faith to people that have no faith. And I just hope that it just bring people closer to God like it was for me.
I think the highlight was just being able to be around everybody that was on the other campus groups, because we haven't done, or the other campus ministries, because we haven't done like a joint event all year. So it was really exciting just being able to like talk and interact with everybody.
Honestly, it was pretty good because everybody got together, crew got together, BCM got together, a bunch of other like Christian groups got together and was able to collaborate, have fun, and create and be creative in a way. And as part of it, like you can look at the banners, everybody had a making, everybody had a print, everybody had a mark in making the banner. And I think that's pretty good saying of how well our community comes together and meshes together.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
Welcome back to Wolves Weekly. I'm Adeline Jandel, along with Miguel Hernandez. And now let's take a look at what's been happening in Newberry athletics over the past week. In the non-conference game last Tuesday at Smith Road Complex, the baseball team lost to Francis Marion 14-0. The game was scoreless until Francis Marion scored 5 runs in the 5th inning. Newberry could manage only 5 against the nationally ranked Patriots. On Friday night, the Wolves hosted Lenore Rhyme in their first game of the conference series. Starting pitcher Jacob Clark pitched 8 innings and allowed 1 run on 3 hits. While the Wolves scored a run in the 7th inning, however, Lenore Rhyme's home run in the 8th turned out to be the decisive hit in the Bears' 2-1 win. On Saturday, the Wolves took both games of the doubleheader. In Game 1, Newberry scored 4 runs in the 4th 3 innings, then Lenore Rhyme scored 3 runs in the 6th. In the bottom of the 6th, the Wolves scored 5 more runs, and although the Bears scored 3 more runs, Newberry prevailed 9-5. The second game was a pitcher's duel, with each team getting only 3 hits, but the Wolves only won 2-1. Their 22 and 16 overall, 6 and 8 in the conference, and they'll begin 3-game series at Wingate University on Friday night.
The softball team lost both games in a conference doubleheader against Carson Newman at the Smith Road Complex on Wednesday. In Game 1, the Wolves were shut out as the Eagles scored 1 run in the 3rd inning and 4 runs in the 4th. In the second game, the Wolves scored 3 runs in the 2nd inning and 3 in the 4th, and briefly held the lead in the 5th. However, Carson Newman added a run in extra innings and prevailed 8-7 in the 8th inning game. On Saturday, the Wolves took both games of a doubleheader against UVA-Wise. The game was tied at 2 until the Wolves scored a walk-off win on a squeeze bunt in the bottom of the 7th. In the second game, Newberry had a 5-run second inning, and Natalie Westcott pitched a complete game, holding UVA-Wise to 1 run. The softball team is now 14-20, 5-9 in the conference, and they'll next play a Saturday doubleheader at Emory and Henry.
The men's tennis fell to Anderson University 4-1 last Wednesday at Anderson. The Trojans won double point early in the competition, but the Wolves only won 1 game, when the 7th Ready took a 6-love, 6-4 win at number 4 singles. Meanwhile, the women's team defeated Anderson 4-2. Lena Sarhan and Hazel Vernon took a 6-1 win at number 1 doubles, and Margarita Roshkata and Lena Morels took a 7-5 win at number 3 doubles. Yu Suvaki, Rini Dorval, and Lena Sharhan took 3 wins in single competitions. On Saturday, both teams were at home to face UVA-Wise on Senior Day. The men's won 2 of the 3 matches, and UVA-Wise came back to take 4 of the 6 single matches and defeated the Wolves 4-2. Meanwhile, the women took a 4-1 win over UVA-Wise. Margarita Rashkati, UV Saki, and Anna Markels took their single matches, while the double teams of Lena Sarhan and Hazel Varon and Margarita Roskaki and Ina Marvels took 2 of the 3 double matches. The tennis team will play at Carson Newman on Saturday.
The men's lacrosse team faced conference rival Anderson University on Wednesday night. Anderson put the Wolves behind a 3 early in the first, but Newberry came back with goals from Liam Wallens, Scott Williams, and Bradley David. They scored 4 more goals in the second, but Anderson made it 7-6 at the break and kept going through the back half of the game, finally winning 17-13. And as you saw earlier in the program, on Saturday evening, they played 4th-ranked Wingate University at Setzler Field. Wingate dominated the first half, scoring 10 points in the first 2 quarters and holding the Wolves to only 2 points. Newberry came back with 10 points in the second half, but the Bulldogs added 6 more points and defeated the Wolves 16-12. The men are now 9-4 overall, 5-2 in the conference, and they'll play at Lincoln Memorial University on Saturday.
The women's lacrosse team was also at Anderson on Wednesday afternoon. They took a 4-3 lead in the first quarter before swapping the advantage with Anderson in the second and ending the first half tied. Newberry had a 1-goal lead in the third, but Anderson tied the game and scored 2 more goals in the fourth, finally winning 10-9. On Saturday, the Wolves faced Wingate at Setzler Field. Lana Howell had a big day, scoring the game's first goal in the first quarter and adding 2 more goals to complete the hat trick. The Wolves stayed competitive throughout the game until a powerful Wingate offense put the game out on reach in the fourth quarter, but the Bulldogs winnings 13-8. The Wolves are now 6-8 overall, 3-4 in the conference, and will play at Lincoln Memorial at noon Saturday.
The men's volleyball team played Barton College at Eliezer Arena on Thursday evening after losing the first set. The Wolves took an extra point win in the second, but couldn't hold back a strong Barton team and lost 3-1. Timothy Cox led with 16 kills, and Lucas Nieves had 9 kills. Preston Anderson had 8 digs on defense. The men will play their final road game of the season at Tusculum on Tuesday night.
The acrobatics and tumbling team finished 3rd at a Friday tri-meet with Wingate University and Montevallo. The Wolves had a strong showing in the pyramid heat and posted its highest score in the open heat. However, Wingate took the first place, followed by Montevallo and Newberry. Up next are the quarterfinal Carolina quarterfinals conference in Greenville on Tuesday, April 7th.
The Newberry's track and field teams competed at the Electric City Invitational in Anderson last weekend. Olivia Hare took first place in the mile, Cassie Bocard placed 4th in the 400 meters, and Tyler Schumott finished 4th in the 800 meters and had a personal best finish in the 5,000 meters. Kendall Parker, Nigel Landrum, and Dejon Barber placed 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the long jump, and Landrum placed 3rd in the high jump. Jaden Gaddison placed 3rd in the discus, and in the hammer throw. And Kenton Proctor placed 5th in javelin. Ryan Wright was runner-up in the pole vault. Kylan Boyd placed 4th for the women in the javelin, and Kiori Butler finished 6th in shot put. The teams will head to Hickory, North Carolina for the Lenore Ryan Invitational on April 10th.
And always, don't forget that you can find more information of these games and everything else the Wolves have been up to at newberrywolves.com. You can find game summaries and the latest updates, upcoming schedules, team rosters, ticket information, and much more. It's all available anytime you want, anywhere you go, at newberrywolves.com. Now here's a look at what's coming up in Newberry College athletics over the next week. And that's all for this edition of Wolves Weekly. I'm Adeline Jendel.
And I'm Miguel Hernandez. Join us next time for more Wolves Weekly.
Keep up to date on the latest in Newberry College athletics with Wolves Weekly, available on Flow Sports and produced by NCTV-Newberry.